Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm just filming this so that I've got a decent thumbnail. As there's not much going on in here, there's in fact even less going on in the garden, but I want to have a walk round the garden prior to any major clear-ups so that we get an impression of what we've cleared up when we've done it. And the last couple of times that bit's been missed, so I've sort of filmed, what we've done after it's been done. Well, let's have a walk round. I mean, we're heading into the depths of winter now. Most of the leaves that are going to drop have done it. Everything's virtually dormant, but strangely enough, there's probably some signs of life in places, so we'll have a walk round and have a look. Now, first of all, we've got a very strange coloured sky out here. I haven't seen that for a while. It's supposed to be sort of grey and wet stuff coming down. That's what we normally get, and we've got a named storm coming in this weekend. That's good. Well, it's not good for most people, but it's good for me. If you look up at the major big deal that I've got in this place, it's that tree. Most of the leaves are now gone. If we get a storm over the weekend, that will clear the remaining leaves, because most of them are now down here. And it takes quite a bit to clear them up. It's a big effort. So it's one that I'd prefer to only do once. And I'm prepared to put up with the mess until the last of those leaves are down, which hopefully will be this weekend. Sorry for all those that have got to put up with the storm to do it. My maple's gone completely dormant. We have something growing in there that is evergreen, and do you know that actually looks like a camellia? So it could be that a camellia seedling has got going in the pot. Quite honestly, the pot needs a clear out because it stops the moisture getting down into the roots, and when we've got really hot weather that can actually cause some frazzling. But I mean, in the season, that's a smashing tree. The camellia over there has got loads of buds again this year, so we should have a nice blooming there. Everything over here is just covered in leaves basically, so you've got a job to see what's going on. This section will be cleared with the leaf blower, but I need to get some dry weather for that to work properly. So when we get a period of dry weather and the leaves dry out, I can get the leaf blower and just blow them up into the hedge. That's where they end up, and then they can rot down in there. The buddleia went absolutely mad at the end of the year when I started feeding it properly. Next year it's going to get cut hard back and it will get fed from the onset. So we should get a bush as big as that in the middle of the year, not the end of the year. This will drop most of its leaves eventually. Over here we've got the ground cover plants. This lavender here really is not doing well at all compared with its sister plant this side. But we've got bits of ground cover all over the place, not showing very well at the moment. We do have some areas that still need to be weeded, but luckily this time of year the weeds don't grow much and they don't flower, so they don't spread. So when they get taken out is not quite such a big deal. We're going to have an absolute mass of forget-me-nots next year. They've really taken a hold. Started off with 3 clumps, 1, 2 and a third one which Hannah took, and they've seeded everywhere. We've got our primroses along here, and we've got bulbs to come up in that corner as well. So not much else going on here. The laurels were cut back, which is good. Up round here, the other camellia, which lives in here, needs a bit of a clear out because the bamboos started to shoot up again, so that's all got to be trimmed back to reveal the camellia that we found. And as you can see, we've got quite a lot of buds, bright red, the blooms on that. We had 2 blooms, but then again I didn't even know I had the plant until very recently. So that's that. The red maple tree that's in the garden, that grew a reasonable amount last year, but that was the first year where it got its head into daylight, so I'd expect it to grow even better next year. It's put on a reasonable amount of growth. I'm expecting that to form like a canopy in this area, so that'd be good. Right, coming back round here, this area here is mostly primroses down through here, and then we get into the weedy section, which is a right pain. I have to get that area planted with something that's going to suppress the weeds, but at the moment you've got a job to see what's going on. Again, we've got thyme that's self-seeded all over the place, plus a few bits that were planted. I'm hoping that the wildflower that came up in there last year will come up again this year. The plants that were planted in there will die back now, they'll be gone for the year. The same with the plants in the tubs over here, they'll just die back. But I mean, if you look at this is going to seed. I'm not cutting these off because the birds will get at these. It's feed for the birds in the winter. But if you look down in the tub, you can see all the new growth ready to come on next year. Same here, this is even still pushing out some blooms. And we've got our red, I've forgotten what it is, red something or other, and the seeds that were planted that Hannah collected at Burnham's. So that's to come. Noisy helicopter going over. This has decided to put out a few blooms. This won't get pruned, that will get left, because all this new growth here is where it will bloom. So that gets left now until after it's finished blooming. The lavender does still need cutting back. That's good. And all these seed heads need taking off of this perpetual wallflower. It's a massive growth. There's going to be a lot of new growths on that for next year. What else? We've got my juniper that I'm hoping to turn into a bonsai next year. It's a good plant. I forgot what we've got in there, but that looks remarkably like a foxglove that's managed to get a hold in there. This area here, there's a fair bit planted in there that, again, the leaves are covering it up at the moment. God, that table's freezing cold. This buddleia came on a lot more once it started getting fed. Now something is going on here because something is digging that up, and that's not me. Oh, no, it's going to be birds, isn't it? Wonder why they just picked on that one. Huh. Anyway, it's not going to do the trees any harm. Robin having a sing. And then coming round here, this is just where all the leaves tend to land. This is where it's at its worst, I suppose you could say. These herbs will get cut back in that pot. That'll look nice. And then up in the planted border, we've got, if I can get through this gap here, just about. We've got a problem. I planted where that bamboo cane is, all along there, I planted foxgloves, and they've completely disappeared. This is the top of one. There's no sign of life, so I don't think they're going to come back next year. The flaming onions, as I call them, they will all grow again next year because they're corms. But this area here just seems to have been cleared out a bit. There's not much left. The fuchsia here has died right back now. That's going to get cut right back to the ground and then dug out. And that's going to go in a pot for next year. It takes up too much room here. The Michaelmas daisies have died back. These have gone. And the new growth is already showing at the base. We've got granny bonnets, aqualegias showing, young ones. Bits of geraniums coming up in places. So there's signs of life here. Obviously the ferns will die back and they'll come back again next year. Oof. So again, we've got foxgloves there. That's foxgloves are okay there. Ferns died back again. They're not dead. They will come back again. Some primroses. There's all sorts in here. Again, more ferns. And we've got the elephant's ears. That's going to be a good clump, and I'm hoping to get blooms next year. Some more foxgloves up the back there. The hellebores should start shooting out soon. I can see possibly some new growths coming. The ferns on the end there actually did quite well last year. They'll be a lot better next year. They'll get some decent roots. And one thing I've noticed out of the kitchen window, a while back we planted some cyclamen just here. Well, that's the leaves. You see how deep the dead leaves are on here? They're swamping things. We do need to have a clear out. But the cyclamen leaves are showing around here. So hopefully we will get some blooms. And then buried in underneath all these leaves, it's highly likely there might be some bulb tips showing. Daffodil bulbs can start to break through the ground. Snowdrops certainly. Snowdrops will be out in February, so hopefully the bulbs will start to show, but there's nothing going to show while we've got this huge coating of leaves. It's going to be difficult to get it all out, but the work I think will be worthwhile. So that's the pots that the fuchsia's going to go in. This is the results of the last clear up. I've still got to go up the recycling centre along with the old bird table. So that's where we are in the garden really. A lot of dormancy, a lot of not much going on. The leaves on that wisteria have yet to drop completely. They'll be gone in a week or so. So that's where we are. Dead leaves really spoiling the view at the moment, but get that lot down over the weekend and then possibly start clearing up. Hannah's down next weekend, not this weekend, but it's our Christmas do on the Saturday, so we'd only be able to do some work in the garden on the Sunday, and that will be weather dependent. But she loves to get out here and get stuck in, and I'm more inclined to have a go if she's helping. So we'll see what we can do. But the leaf blower will do a lot of the work if it's dry. But when the leaves are all wet like this, because it was raining hard yesterday, the leaf blower doesn't hardly touch them. You know, it's a waste of energy really turning it on. It just doesn't work. So you're down to using a brush, and obviously it's difficult to brush leaves off of places where there's planted plants. It's all right on the patio, but not where there's plants. But we might have to just do it by hand. Just grab handfuls and, you know, throw them onto the patio and then clear them up there. We shall see. This bush here has decided to bloom. This is supposed to bloom in February, not now. It's quite fragrant, this. All these flowers on bare stems, whatever it is, I keep forgetting. But it's quite attractive, and you know, I get to see this from the kitchen window. Get bits of oak tree coming down and landing all over the place. That tree is an absolute menace. It just causes so much grief and so much work. Some branches here. Still, I'm stuck with it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's not my tree. But, so there we go, that's the state of play, and I'm going in now because it's cold. That's the problem, when you get the nice weather this time of year, it's also cold. But this storm is heading in tonight into tomorrow and possibly on into Sunday. It sounds like a bad one. We've got yellow and amber warnings in places, so got weather warnings for wind and rain. Well, so be it. And yeah, just a quick look round at this time of year, and I'll see you next time.